I just want to say before the video starts to make sure to hit that subscribe button. I am actually losing subscribers every day as I am transitioning over into Storybook Brawl content. So if you like what you see, if you want to see more, leave a like and hit that subscribe button and enjoy. What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and today we are celebrating Matt Place's 46th birthday. Matt Place is the founder of Good Luck Games and the lead developer for Storybook Brawl, so I wanted to find a way to honor him here on the channel, and I was thinking, what better way to celebrate a birthday than by playing a hero that can never grow up. So I am going to be showing one of my old Peter Pants gameplay videos here. I just went through a bunch of my old footage and tried to find a Peter Pants game that I felt was worthy of this birthday celebration. And I think this is a pretty sweet one. I've shown off a lot of my other sweet Peter Pants videos on the channel, but I thought that this was a cool one to show off here too. Now, one of the reasons that I thought that this game was so cool to show off is really because of this first shop. We've got two polywoggles, which honestly I don't really love on Peter Pants. They turn into 4-drops immediately, which is cool, but those 4-drops aren't really going to be able to synergize that great with the other things that you've got going on, and you'll never be able to make treasures out of them. So instead, I decide to roll, and I am super happy to find a Brave Princess. Now, one of the other reasons that I was able to make this play is I am playing up against Skip on this first turn, so I'm not going to take any damage. It wasn't really that greedy of a play. I'm just down a polywoggle, which means I'm down 1 gold effectively, because it's probably all it was going to be worth anyways. But I actually turned that polywoggle into effectively a gold by rolling twice with it. So I think that ultimately this wound up being worth it. What might have happened is I might have seen the shop on my second turn rolled and then just sold the polywoggle to buy the Brave Princess then. So I think that ultimately this works out pretty well for us getting a Brave Princess. There were a few different things I was looking for there, but Brave Princess is probably the chief among them. But after that, I think Princess White, really anything that scales. And I bring up Princess White because she is in our third shop here now, second shop of things that we're purchasing from. But Princess White is really, really good on pants, and especially this early. So I'm definitely happy to pick up Princess White. Talk about her more in a second. But I was looking for Princess White and then potentially like Vampire. Both of which can scale and give you a really good lead as Peter Pants. And then the other things that I were looking for were maybe some things that would give more econ, like Lucky, as we see in this shop, or Prized Pig, and then another one could potentially be the Stag, just because the Stag is so powerful. But we're going to lock this shop here. We'll have 5 gold next turn, and we're going to be able to buy 2 dwarves, so this is going to be a really powerful shop for us, and we're continuing to slay with this Brave Princess, so this should give us a nice early lead as well. And honestly, I think that everything is going pretty well here. One of the reasons I really like Princess White is obviously just the stats, but she's also going to give us a tier 3 treasure, and when you are pantsing, you are just looking for hats and balls, which are both level 3 treasures. Also, there are 3 different dwarfs that cost 3, Lucky, Doubly, and Tweedledee. So, while you are purchasing for Princess White, a lot of times you are buying and tripling those dwarves and getting more looks at tier 3 treasures in that way. So, I think for all of those reasons that Princess White is just a really good unit to pursue when you're Peter Pants, and I think that, yeah, this is just a really, really good start for us here as we start level 3. So we are up against a Merlin now, and if our Brave Princess can slay here and trigger, which looks like it can, we're now in a really good spot. I think we will lose this fight to this beefy donkey here, and we're going to go ahead and take 6 down to 26, and this can happen sometimes as pants, but now you see we get to pick up this Deep Stone Mine, and we're going to be able to get to pick up a Spellweaver on the cheap. Things are looking great. I'm going to roll just because I don't really want the Vampire. Now that I have a Deep Stone Mine, I'm even more rewarded for picking up some dwarves. And like I said, I do typically like to pick up those 3-cost dwarves like the Tweedledee that you see here, but the double Fanny support will just be a lot better on our economy for this turn. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up both of these Fannies, and then I do believe I am going to lock this shop for the Tweedledee. Only need to find 3 more dwarves to turn this white online. So, yeah, this is all looking pretty good. If I don't find the hat or the ball, some other things like giving my ranged units in the back row can typically be pretty powerful with pants. I'm just noticing all of the alliteration there that I just said. Pretty powerful with pants. But yeah, definitely locking for the Tweedledee here, and I think that's going to make our board considerably more powerful. I would be surprised if we lose any of the next few fights. At least based off this combat, it's looking like we're pretty powerful here, right? So they'll take down our Crafty, and then we'll take down their Shadow Assassin in the back. But there we go. We are no longer in the back of the lobby at this point. Now we're actually in 5th already. So I pick up a Fanny, which gives us a Rune Stones. I don't mind taking Rune Stones here. And then I will grab a Tweedledee, and definitely going to want that Tweedledee to get supported. This is kind of an interesting spot, because if I purchase 1 more dwarf, then we are in... we're going to be getting the treasure from white. So that's definitely probably what's going to happen with this Rune Stones. We're going to be getting a tier 4 treasure from that, rather than a tier 3 one, but there are some tier 4 treasures that you want while you are pantsing as well, namely the horn and the fork. But I think that with this setup, I'm just trying to think if there's any other tier 4 treasures that we would want. And now I'm actually just remembering the one that we do pick. Obviously, there is Dwarven Fortress, I believe it's called. Yeah, we have Dwarven Mine, but Dwarven Fortress says that you only need 2 dwarves to upgrade and get a treasure. So that could wind up being pretty sweet, but we'll see what else we can come up with. This combat's going to be a little bit awkward for us. We're going to get that. Oh, actually, when we take out their support, that winds up being pretty good, actually. Okay, pretty nicely done. And we deal 8 damage to somebody else above us. So what does that put us into? That puts us into 3rd place as a 26 health Peter Pants, and Skip is on the top of the lobby, probably partially thanks to us not dealing 3 to him on the first turn, but that would have only brought him down to 34. I'm going to take a doubly, and then I see some treasure options here, and Fool's Gold might seem a little bit backwards if your plan is to hat ball, but in the interim, our plan is to just pick up some dwarves, and for that, I think Fool's Gold is pretty good for us. Then I see the option to take another Blind Mouse, and I think that that is going to be pretty good here as well, because there are still some level 4 treasures that we need. You can basically, I mean, there's a lot of different treasure combinations that work with Peter Pants. It doesn't have to just be Hat Ball Fork, but Hat Ball Fork is going to be the most consistent one that you can play to, and it's generally just going to be easier than assembling some like Ballhorn Mimic type of scenario. That just winds up being a little bit more difficult. Sorry, just restarted this combat due to some camera issues. Hopefully that is all sorted here now. And hopefully these dwarves can carry us. It looks like they're doing pretty good. Not sure if I cut this part out, but Skip is doing pretty healthy in the lobby, and that is partially thanks to us skipping our combat against them. But we are going to take them down to 30 now. They would have been down to, I guess they would have been down to 30 or 26 had we taken that combat against them. We're just going to continue to buy some dwarves. I'm considering buying and selling the tiny just to make our Princess White a little bit stronger, even so. But then we get the Tweedledee Triply and we're able to make a crystal ball. So that is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Just grabbing some extra dwarves, and then I see another Tweedledee there, and my options really are to sell the Tweedledee or sell the Fanny or potentially sell the Spellweaver. And I could definitely see an argument for selling the Spellweaver, but I think I'm powerful enough at this point that I don't... Oh, you know what? I'm just now noticing I could have sold the Crafty as well. But the thing is, and I don't know how right this is, but this is something I tend to do while I'm playing Pants. If I want to triple another Tweedledee and I already have an upgraded Tweedledee, I know I'm making it harder for myself by hanging on to that, because when you have an upgraded unit, that takes 3 units out of the potential purchasing pool. So I generally just like to sell back my upgraded units so that way I can buy them and try to make some more treasures, because if I find 2 more Tweedledees, I think that's going to be what I want to purchase. Now, maybe I should have just gone in a different direction and just kept the Tweedledee for the board presence. That could have certainly been really powerful too, but I just wanted to keep buying dwarves and keep making Princess White more powerful, so that's also a consideration that I had to balance there. And like I said, I think I'm powerful enough that I can get away with a play like this, so that is what I'm going to go for. I'm going to buy our second Lucky, and now we have to make some cuts here. I think I should cut the Crafty. Yep, that's what I'll do. I'll slide in the second Lucky, cut the Crafty, because I really do want these Spellweavers, and then I also really want this Tweedledee and this Wizard's Familiar. So now I've really got to make some cuts here, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the Fanny, and I'm not sure if I'll have room for the Wizard's Familiar, so I'm not sure what I'm planning on doing here, but I think I'm just going to take the Wizard's Familiar. No, I'm going to take the Tweedledee. All right, and then one shop later, we get the Blind Mouse, and we are able to pick up the Forking Rod, and then I will toss the Fool's Gold. I guess the Wizard's Familiar isn't going to be that powerful yet when you don't even have the spells in your shop yet for it. So then I'll pick up Treasure Map, and for that I will drop my Deepstone Mine. So this is going to be a lot of stats lost for this combat, and honestly should probably backline the Spellweaver. That might have given me a better chance to win, but a doubled... it's not called Falling Stars. I always forget the name of that spell. It is at least going to deal some damage to some of my opponent's stuff, but I mean, I don't even think I'm going to be able to get past this Crafty, so this one's going to be a little bit tough, and I'm definitely going to be taking some damage here now to make room for these treasures. We've made our board considerably worse. We've sold off the Fanny supports, we've sold off anything with the word dwarf on it, and yeah, our board is definitely a little bit weaker at this point. And that's something that does happen with Peter Pants, is you got to get weaker at some points of the game to get stronger, like I did in the early game. This is a really tough consideration because you need something to make your treasures cheaper. So I roll past the doubly the first time that I find it, but then I'm thinking, you know what, I don't just want to lose this game. So I do take the second doubly and make myself a triply, and Dracula's Saber is just going to be a good treasure for the time being to just allow us to survive on the current board. And then after that, I'll take a Spellweaver and I'll sell the Baby Root to buy a Genie's Wish, which flashed by a few spells there really quickly, but I believe it gave us some XP, and it also gave us an Earthquake, which is potentially going to be good with the Dracula Saber. I think that one play that would be pretty good here is frontlining the Princess White, just because that way I am making sure that I'm getting at least one kill and turning my Dracula Saber online. Obviously, I'm going to be able to get a kill with this Spellweaver. That's why I do actually think it's good to frontline it for this combat, as we get the kill, and we're just going to be getting double Dracula Saber buffs on this doubly. Pretty awkward combat here, though, but the fact that the Brave Princess goes on that pointless Tweedledee means that the Spellweaver in the back is going to be able to get some pickups, and then we are going to be able to get some kills for our Dracula Saber. The Court Wizard is going to do a decent amount of damage, though, and make it so that my opponent does not take too many hits here. The Mad Catter just drops down to 19. But now with Ball and Fork, I think it is time to start playing some actual... trying to actually make something happen here. And I think that Fanny pickup was a little bit loose. I'm not sure why I picked that one up. Then I see this True Love's Kiss, and I am debating playing it on the Princess White. That seems really bold, but I do go for it here. And that was definitely an interesting decision point, and I remembered that was going to happen, obviously, but I don't think that it was a great move. I'm just trying to cast spells, I guess, to start to grow my Spellweavers, and as long as the Spellweavers can connect, then that means that these doublies and triplies are going to grow with the Dracula Saber. So I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world, but it was certainly an interesting play there. I think that the white probably would have just been better as a white for the time being, but here we are. So we're going to be able to get some kills here with the Dracula Saber, and that grows the Tripoli pretty considerably, and now the Sporko in the back even is doing some pretty good work. That was also a really huge hit for us. Not that I think we were in jeopardy of losing that battle, but yeah, I guess we were probably going to kill Merlin there regardless, so probably didn't matter, but pretty good combat RNG for us, it seemed. And then we get 2 more dwarves. Let's buy the cheaper one first, and that gives us Merlin hat. So we're going to ditch the Dracula Saber, and now yet again, we are in a spot where we've just made ourselves considerably less powerful, so we've got to amp our game up, and we've really got to start casting some spells here. I think I will buy the Baby Root. It was even interesting to not buy the Good Egg just to start playing some spells, but the Baby Root here is definitely good. That spell should... A lot of these spells should potentially... Well, I'll talk about that in a second. It's good to have a good unit, because I apparently do not even have a good unit, but it is also good to have a Treant. And we'll see that now that I can cast this Flourish on the Baby Root. That's just going to allow me to cast so many more spells. When you are hat-ball forking or hat-balling in any capacity, when you're Peter Pants, you just want to make sure that you've got a monster and a Treant. And then when you're playing some other... things, you might also want a prince or a princess as well. Those are also some good things for you. But now we're fully hat-ball forking. We're fully online. We get our first level 6 unit, and that is going to be a Doom Breath. And how does the Doom Breath look against Skip? It is actually fantastic. Their Grimsoul fails to slay. This is back when Grimsoul was still in the game, but the Grimsoul fails to slay because it attacks something that is too tiny, and then by the time it does die, their Jormungand was taken out. Their whole battlefield was taken out by my Doom Breath. So that was an absolutely nasty Doom Breath here, and that definitely saved us. So that was pretty sweet. I'm going to put a little bit of health on the Doom Breath, I figure, because it was so good for us. And I'm going to put almost all of my stats onto that Doom Breath where I can. Now that I've made it a good unit, I can no longer pump it up as an evil unit. I think anything that is temporary stats, I should be throwing onto the Triplies. But anything that is 1-turn stats here, yeah, there we go. Like, I kind of want a monster as well, so I'm going to go ahead and buy this Ogre Princess, so that way I just have a monster that I can cast spells on as well. It's always tough to do commentary for these hatball games. We're going to sell off the doublies, so that way I can buy these Spellweavers here. We are always skipping the treasures, and then, oh wow, this was quite the shop. We also get to purchase a Wizard's Familiar. I'll mention that this was back when Mixawazzle, I mean, I could just be casting these Mixawazzles for free. Those are fine. But this is when Mixawazzle gave the creature, turned the creature into the level one higher than your hero's level. So on Pants, this was actually not as good as the current iteration. There we go, Dragon taking out some backline stuff. Really, it's just going to be a matter of taking down this Shadow Assassin, and yeah, the fact that we basically get a free attack here because the Sporko's not doing anything means we're going to win this one too. Ogre Princess just kind of sitting in there watching, and we have the double kidnap, so we get a pair of Riverwash Mermaids, but I don't think that that is going to be too useful. But yeah, turning something into a level 4 minion, like, there's not really anything that we really want to do that on. So yeah. And you can see the Baby Root and the Ogre Princess are... they've already paid for themselves in terms of how many spells we've been able to cast on them. I don't think that we really need to try to upgrade the Baby Princess and the Baby Root and the Ogre Princess, but there is some consideration for it just because we could... actually, I think I like temporary spells on the dragon. I'm going to change my mind on that. I think that putting the Luna's Grace on the dragon is actually just good, because it's just going to give us a higher chance to win this brawl, which is really all that we have to care about. Gonna go ahead and sell the Triply to buy a Spellweaver, and then might as well buy another Genie's Wish. The main reason to purchase more Baby Roots and Ogre Princesses is so that we have more TLK targets, and that is something I should probably be considering a little bit more. It's always easy to backseat game somebody that is hatball forking, and to even backseat game yourself. The dragon is definitely carrying us here, though, and happy to have access to that, just dealt with a ton of stuff there, and meant that this Court Wizard, even with all of these bonus attacks that we're giving it, is just not going to be enough. And we're going to put the Mad Catter down to 1, so maybe some of that damage earlier did actually really wind up mattering. We upgrade the Lancelot. I'm just going to skip these treasures. We've got Hatball Fork. I'm really only taking Mimic there, and even Mimic is a tough sell. That's right, we get a Lancelot from the Kidnap, from the Genie's Wish. Their Lancelot winds up being a little bit stronger than ours, so I guess we will take their Lancelot here. But yeah, there's so much to pay attention to while you are hatball forking, and really the only way that you're going to get better at it is through repetition, just by playing more and more games and figure out what is going on here. And even here, this is an interesting decision point. We've got the Ashwood Elm, and I think that this means that, like, I should be putting the Baby Root in, and I should actually be really excited about the Ashwood Elm, but I just decide to roll it, and I get an even bigger dragon, so I guess it all worked out well for me. And then I am out of True Love's Kiss targets, so I start kissing the Baby Root that I have, and I'm just going to lock that True Love's Kiss in the shop because there's too much to think about for right now. We'll have to think about it on our next turn. But yeah, a little bit of my opponent's trying to get some stuff done here. I think that our board is way too powerful to really care about anything that our opponent is doing here, unfortunately for them. It's always good to just have some upgraded units when you are Peter Pantsing, so that way you can TLK them up to level 6s. And this is a really interesting decision point because without any other level 6s, I decide that I'm going to TLK my 200 Wizards familiar, nearly 200, 174, 174, and I get a pretty good result out of it. I get a ranged unit out of it, and now I just turned my creature was probably big enough, and now I just made it into a ranged unit, and I think that winds up being pretty powerful. So those decision points are always really awkward. And then I decide to TLK it again just because I want it. Like, if I can make this into a Doom Breath, now it seems pretty unlikely because I already have 2 other Doom Breaths, but if I could make it into a Doom Breath, that would be really fantastic. Hurting a little bit here because I don't have another tree that I can play. Should probably be cutting the second Doom Breath, but I'm going to go ahead and pump it up. And I do like this play as well. This way, if the Doom Breath gets attacked, I'll still have the other Doom Breath as a means to that. And then I am going to actually turn the Bearstein into a Gumblegore and play that as well. So now I've got some really, really huge minions. Fail to cast the Mixawazzle, I think, for the second time in this video. But we're doing some pretty strong stuff, and I think making some good things happen here. Our Doom Breath is not quite going to be able to take out the Jormungand, but the Jormungand will die to the Spellweaver, and then we'll be able to take out the Skip here. So yeah, I'm struggling just to keep up with the commentary on the Peter Pan's game because there's always just so much going on. I decide to flip the Wizards Familiar into something with a TLK because I wasn't playing it. So I figure if I wasn't playing it, maybe I can turn it into something that I would play. And when it turns into Juliet, I'm thinking, wow, if I could grab a Romeo right now, that would be absolutely fantastic. I do pick up some Wizards Familiars. I think this was me kind of being a little bit cute, and this was definitely a mistake. I just wasted 4 gold, actually only 2 gold because I knew I was skipping the treasure, but still wasting 2 gold in my last turn here. You can see even with just 1 gold, if you hit a shop that has a bunch of spells in it, that could just translate into a bunch of stats. I'm going to cut the Gumblegore, though, because I don't really think that we need that. And, yeah, if we were able to play a Romeo, I think this would have been sick. I'm going to consider the Gumblegore just as a ranged unit, but I really don't think I should be playing it. Should be casting this spell as well, but I was mostly just trying to figure out if my ordering of my units was correct. And sometimes you do have to make sacrifices like that when you are playing Peter Pants. But my Doom Breath gets in, it kills half of their units. It's going to make their Court Wizard, their remaining Court Wizard, attack. They had 2 Court Wizards, right? Let me go back and see that. Yeah. So the Doom Breath takes out a Court Wizard, which is also just huge. And then it takes out 2 Princesses and Princes. And then their Good Boy dies. And basically all of our units here are going to trade 1 for 1, which is totally fine because Doom Breath traded 3 for 1. So that is going to be enough to win the game here. And here is our victory screen for our Peter Pants. Happy birthday, Matt Place. And hopefully this was a good enough video to do you proud. They've put together just a wonderful, wonderful game here with Storybook Brawl. You can just do so much, and it's so much fun. And part of the fun is this aspect that I was trying to talk about somewhat here as I was struggling to even keep up with the commentary just with the fast-paced nature of hatballing. There's so much going on in Storybook Brawl that I think will continue to keep the game fun and exciting and just overall a blast to play. So if you want to see some more Storybook Brawl, I'll take that again. So if you want to see some more sweet Storybook Brawl content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I put out new videos every day at 9:30 p.m. EST Tomorrow I'm going to be putting out a copycat good boy video, which is currently the best strategy in the game. And then in 2 days I'm going to start uploading coverage from the Storybook Brawl Open League qualifier event where I placed 16th out of about 100 competitors. So a lot of sweet videos to come, as well as you can check out my past videos if you want some more to watch right this very second. And you can also catch me live at twitch.tv/NoLucksGiven, where you can cheer me on as I battle it out. I am almost mythic this season. I haven't been playing too much laddering, but I'm almost mythic this season, so maybe I will do a live stream soon. You can check out my Twitch for more info on that. But that is going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.